The 696th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN.
Hi, Generinos, and welcome to the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Episode 696 is dedicated to Alex Cruz, 23, who appreciates us. And we appreciate you, Alex Cruz. Thanks for watching and listening, everyone. I am Big Body Taco, Jeff Fox.
Body Taco.
I added another name. I think I added the Jeff Fox part, or Jeff at least. We're covering Anthony Pettis FC today. It's actually a very solid fight card that Anthony Pettis promotion is putting on in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this coming weekend. So we're going to break down the fight card for you, giving you some winning picks, and we'll be out of your hair. Sound good? Great. I have someone who's going to break these fights down for me. The king of regional MMA himself would be the one and only Gamble Responsibly. Hello.
Yeah, when you first started saying that about me, which first of all, I appreciate. Thank you for the flattery. When you first started saying that, I was like, am I the king of... I was just looking at my spreadsheet, which first of all, almost 40 units on the year. Hopefully by the end of this weekend, we're at 40, which is already good. But secondly, there's definitely nobody out there who's given out over 500 regional MMA this year. I can't imagine that's possible. And I'm pretty sure that's where we're at too. And right now there's a 67% hit rate. I'm hitting 2 out of every 3 picks I make. And the return on investment is a little over 7% right now, which like a bank account's not even going to get you 7%. So you might as well put all your money in Gumby instead of putting all your money in the bank.
the bank of Gumby. Invest in the bank of Gumby for sure. No one else is making picks. 7%? I guess some people are making picks on non-UFC stuff, but not
they are. Like shout out to Sean Sheehan. He always has like some octagon picks and stuff like that, or a little preview. But like nobody is regularly breaking down Fury FC and CFFC and
Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship.
Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship or Uriah 1 A1 Combat. Invicta, probably more people do. We had another big underdog on Invicta this week, by the way.
Oh, fantastic! That fight card got decimated, and then Gumby had to put extra work in. He got you picks in time for the event. Anyhow, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Went 7-1 with the bonus picks and the lightning round picks and the actual picks.
When emergency strike, check our YouTube because we will do our best to update when fight cards go awry. Maybe not for the Anthony Pettis FC 14, but. Nonetheless, we'll dive into that in a second. Got to remind you, if you don't know, college basketball is back, baby. And if you aren't already, please subscribe to the College Experience for their daily picks podcast, breaking it all down. And thanks as always for tuning into the MMA Gambling Podcast. If you can head to Spotify and give us a 5-star rating, only you can help prevent corporate gambling from taking over. And now we're going to take over Anthony Pettis FC 14, Milwaukee Fight Night 6. Going down in, you guessed it, Milwaukee, Wisconsin on the 17th.
Fight Night 6.
Yep. Going down Sunday. So that's the positive. It's like Fury. It's the Fury FC. It's the Sunday thing, Sunday night, which is good. After most of the NFL is out of the way, 8 p.m. Eastern. UFC Fight Pass, which is another positive. 10 fights going down in the Potawatomi Casino Event Center in a cage. We're going to break down half of the card for you, the top 5 fights. And then if there's some bonus round picks, Gumby will get those to you as well. Let's dive into it, shall we? It is a 155-pound fight first. Lightweight fight. We do not have odds yet. You can get odds for Anthony Pettis, right? I think I've seen it before.
Yeah. A lot of the offshores do them. Occasionally, depending on how dull the week is in terms of MMA action, sometimes you see some of the bigger regular ones do them too. So
and we if we keep covering it, then we'll put the pressure on these books. The demand will be there. This is Justin Lovrich versus Nohili Kahepuu. Kahepuu, is that how you say it, Gumby?
I'm gonna let you be the one to do it.
So you don't know. Perfect. Hopefully he knows how he fights.
I think it's Kahepuu, because I think there's usually a apostrophe after the first two.
Oh yeah, okay. Is he Hawaiian?
Yeah, he's Hawaiian.
I assume. Yeah. All right. He is 3-0 with 3 knockouts. 2-0 in APFC. Anthony Pettis fighting championship for those not familiar. Used to fight at welterweight, 4 inches height over Lovrich. Lovrich, Juice is the nickname. 3-2 with 2 submissions. 0-2 in APFC. He's lost 2 straight. Before that, he went 2-0 in LFA. He also is 1-0 in combat jiu-jitsu. No odds yet. Gumby, go ahead.
So you got a 3-0 guy coming down in weight versus a 3-2 guy. So you got to imagine, and one of them has been fighting in the organization for a minute. And Kahepuu, I don't know how to say his name.
Sure you don't either, sucker.
I tried to say it with confidence, and then I immediately started laughing, and so
because the poo part, because you're mature, and the poo part, right?
It's poo, I believe. But I think he's going to be like a -400, -450 favorite, somewhere in that range. And I'm going to go dog here. This is one of you are now on our 3rd regional episode of the week. This is maybe my favorite fun underdog play of the week is Justin Lovrich. He's 3-2. He's coming off of 2 straight losses. He's up against an undefeated guy coming down in weight. And I couldn't love him more than I do at this current moment.
Oh, he loves you so much, Lovrich.
The reason is simple. Is Kahepuu is super. You're just gonna laugh at me every time I say it.
Sorry,
sorry,
Mr. Kahepuu.
He's super slow on the feet, and his last fight wasn't at welterweight; it was actually at 165. But like, he was really slow when he was striking in that fight. And not only that, is the guy he was fighting then pulled guillotine, and I was like, well, why would you jump guillotine when you could just like continue to piece this guy up?
It's cool. That's slow. Why.
But he went guillotine and. Nohili fouled him to the ground, threw a whole bunch of strikes, was in a triangle, was in an armbar, was in like all kinds of different submissions on the ground. And now he's up against the guy who himself is a good wrestler. As you mentioned, he's got like a combat jiu-jitsu background. So he's a guy who loves submissions, loves submission grappling. He won fights in LFA with that grappling. He also, on top of that, is going to be so much faster. Because like, if you're a slow welterweight, guess what you are at lightweight? Like it doesn't get better as you move down. You continue to be the slow one. I think Lovrich is going to be infinitely faster. He's going to have better top control. He's got a good submission game. I think he subs him in the first. That's my honest opinion. I think Justin Lovrich subs this guy in the first and might be a 3 or a 4-1 underdog.
Ooh, so you think plus 400, plus 350, we'll say. How's that?
That works for me.
All right. Lovrich is the pick here. And it's got Rich in his last name. So there you go. You're going to get Rich off this pick, right, Gumby? When it hits.
Right. He's trying to lead you to water right there.
Yep, it's true. All right. This is next fight is a welterweight fight. Sanon Sadeck from Burkina Faso. We have not had a fighter from there before, right?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, Logan, we broke down Sadeck one time, so.
Oh, okay, yeah. Other than him, Logan Urban, naturally from the United States. That is a very U.S. name. That would be it's kind of a hockey player name as well.
Or
Logan Urban
music star.
Yeah, country music star for sure. Logan Urban is Hulk. He's 6-2 with 1 no contest, 3 knockouts, 2 submissions, 2 on his resume. He's been knocked out twice. This is his debut. 1-1 with 1 no contest over his last 3. Lost his last fight, TKO, but it was due to an injury. He's not fought since. That was back in February 2023. He's not won since August 2022. 0-0 and 1 no contest on the Contender Series. He originally lost and then it got overturned because his opponent,
Josh Quinlan, who recently won a dog play against.
Yep. So there you go. He is 1-1 in LFA, 3 inches height over Sadeck. Sadeck is 6-2 with 2 knockouts. He's never been finished in a fight. 2-0 on Anthony Pettis fighting championship. He's won 3 straight and 6 of 7. 1-0 in LFA, 0-1 in PFL, 3 inches of reach over Urban.
I'm going to say this one's a pick-em. I think the reason why I'm going to say that is Sadeck is obviously been impressive in his own ways. His record's looking a lot better than Urban lately. Urban, basically 1-2 in his last 3, although one of them's an injury and one of them got overturned. Bottom line is he's won 1 of his last 3 fights, and coming back from the injury. So I think it's got to be close because Urban doesn't have those recent results, but he was on Contender Series. So that does something for him too. And I'm actually going to take Urban here too. I think the big thing for me with Sadeck is I don't like how he establishes range or isn't able to find the range early. A lot of his early strikes either come up 6 inches short or are weirdly clubbing to the side of the head when he's shooting for the jaw. He doesn't throw a lot of things straight, which makes it even a little bit worse because he's wasting a lot of power on a lot of those. And anytime anybody comes forward and like gives him trouble, he's sort of like one of those cover up and back up in a straight line guys until he feels comfortable again. It's just not polished, is what I would say. Is like Sadeck has a lot of promise, and when he's being offensive, is like pretty impressive. But like when he's finding the ability to be offensive to start, or when he's being defensive, it's just like it's not a rounded out game yet. And Urban, first of all, I like him a lot in the clinch. I like his ability to hold people against the cage. I like his ability to like throw hooks to the body and knees to the body when he's in the clinch. I actually thought that's how he was going to beat Josh Quinlan when he was on Contender Series. If I'm remembering correctly, I took Urban in that fight. I like him in the clinch. I like the way he wears down on people and stuff like that. And I think just in general, he like has enough confidence that he's going to walk forward and throw combinations. And two things are going to happen then. Sadeck is going to cover up and like, take the shots, probably a lot of them on the arms or to the side of the head and stuff like that, but that's going to score. And then in addition to that, as he backs up, I could see Urban grabbing the body and working his clinch game. So like, I think the problems that Sadeck have play perfectly into the things that Urban already does well. So I'm going to go Urban here. I'm hoping even money. I'm hoping that the Contender Series stuff doesn't, sort of like boost the hype on him too much and get him out of control here. I'm hoping people like Sadeck's recent results enough to make this close.
All right. Good transition into an underdog ad read again, because Gumby hopefully took an underdog there for us. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. They got NFL, they got college football, they got college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use specials and boosts on all your flex entries. And Gumby's going to give you a play. Maybe flex, maybe not. He could not be flexing.
This is a tough one because we are maybe recording this a touch.
Maybe
we might possibly be recording this a touch before Tuesday. So if we're gonna look ahead to Tuesday, obviously football's over for the week, but we got basketball on Tuesday. We've got the Celtics in group play for the NBA Cup against the Hawks, and of course you know what that means. Yep. That means Al Horford 3-pointers is in play. Let's take the higher than on Al Horford's. It's probably going to be listed at 1.5, I would have to guess. Al Horford drops 2 threes in, and we all get happy.
All right. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. All right, moving right along in Milwaukee. See if Gumby can get us some more dogs here. Third from the top is Miguel Sanson versus Jonathan Sepulveda. Sanson, is from the United States. Sepulveda is from Puerto Rico. 3 5-minute rounds. Sepulveda is 10-5, 6 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's never been finished, in a fight. 1-4 over his last 5. He did lose his last fight. Regional champion, 2013 pro MMA debut. Sanson, 5-2 with 1 knockout, never been finished in a fight. 1-2 over his last 3. He did win his last fight. 5-2 in LFA. So all those fights are taking place in LFA. This is his debut in Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. 13 years younger than Sepulveda. I'm assuming Sanson's going to be a big fave here, right?
Yeah, -1,000, -2,000, like
$1 billion.
Sepulveda won 1 of his last 4, and how did he lose those fights? Largely just by getting out wrestled and controlled. Miguel Sanson, you mentioned he's 5-2 in LFA, 5-2 in his pro career. Do you know who the losses are to?
No, I can't remember.
Mark Klomako and Antoine Ho.
Good fighters.
Good fighters. And the fight with Antoine Ho, I know people who scored that fight for Sanson. He won scrambles in that fight. He was like very much putting a close fight on Antoine Ho. And you know how much of a fan of Antoine Ho is. I am. I kind of hope both Sanson and Antoine Ho both wind up in the Ultimate Fighter. Did you know we're getting a flyweight Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, I did. You told us about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it. I hope they throw away welterweight and just give us 16 flyweights.
That would be great.
Miguel Sanson would be a guy I would put in the house. He's well-rounded. His striking's good. He has lost to some guys who can wrestle a little bit more than him and Antoine Ho and Mark Klomako. But he's very legit wherever this fight goes. And he's up against the guy who he could just choose to out-wrestle if he wanted to. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if he just went in there and beat the hell out of him striking for 15 minutes. So, yeah, give me Miguel Sanson. Be shocked if it wasn't in 4 digits.
All right. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not 5 digits, I guess, right? What's the biggest line you have ever seen on an MMA fight? Do you remember?
On an MMA fight?
Yeah.
I mean,
know
that Isaac Bulgarian one recently was pretty out of control. Was that negative 1500 in in a UFC fight? That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he looked every bit negative 1500.
He did. He did. All right. We're up to, after I get this pop-up ad, Dan, you Tapology trying to make money. This is title fights the rest of the way through. Co-main event. The APFC vacant lightweight championship. I won't ask you why it's vacant, Gumpy, unless you have an answer.
I can tell you, the guy who won it, which is at like APFC 4 or 5, vacated the title because he retired. He had like lost 3 in a row. They gave him a title fight for some reason. He won the title, retired on a high note. Then Choinski was supposed to fight for the title at APFC 13. We actually broke down that fight on our APFC 13 episode. And after he was supposed to take that fight, his opponent fell off and they couldn't find him anybody worth a shit. So he fought a 2-8 guy and they didn't let him do that for the title. Which, like, you know, respect for them for not making that be the title fight. But anyway, now they found him John Simon instead. All right.
Yes. So there you go. John Simon versus Mark Choinski is who is battling here. I have it listed as 3 5-minute rounds on Tapology. So hopefully that is correct. And do you know off the top of your head if they do 5-round title fights?
I don't have the slightest clue. I feel like I've seen 5-round fights there before.
Okay.
I feel like I've seen that.
We'll see.
Correct me in the comments, but here's a quick spoiler for you. It doesn't matter for me.
That was the next question.
Breakdown.
Next question is, it probably won't matter anyway, I'm sure. All right. Simon, 7-3, 4 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out twice. This is his debut. He's won 2 straight and 5 of 6. He lost fight in September 2022. Regional champion. I think he was Uri Faber, A1 champ. Does that sound right to you?
That does sound right to me.
Someone on this card was, and I think it's him. So apparently this is better than Uri Faber fight.
I think Anthony Pettis FC regularly has a more well-rounded, like, top 5 fights on it than like Faber sometimes has like a better number 1 fight. And maybe number 2 fights, but like, you know, you're not going to get a Miguel Sanson 3 from the top on Uriah Faber.
Yeah. So there you go. So this guy used to be the champ there, and used to fight at welterweight. 3-1 is pro grappler, an inch taller than Choinski, the Shark. Choinski, Mark the Shark, is 6-0, 1 knockout, 4 submissions, 3-0 in APFC, 4 straight wins via submission. Used to fight at welterweight, 4 years younger than Simon.
So Simon's last win was actually over Violent Bob Ross in Cage Titans, which usually you'd be like, oh, over a UFC vet. Have you seen Violent Bob Ross fight recently?
No, I know his life was going off the rails, though, so I assume it's not good.
His fighting career has gone off the rails, too, because he just lost again in Cage Titans actually, at the time of you listening to this, 3 nights ago. He lost this past Saturday against Zach DiSabatino, who's actually not a terrible prospect, but he basically has gone to Cage Titans, which is, you know, not that I love Cage Titans, but like is a step below an LFA or an Anthony Pettis Fight Club. And like, he's still losing all the time. And in that fight, he was piecing up John Simon on the feet. He was clearly the better striker on the feet. John Simon decides, I'm going to try to wrestle, and gets enough control and wins the fight basically by wrestling. He can't wrestle Mark Choinski. I think there's a 0% chance that he takes down Mark Choinski. Or gets any kind of grappling success against Mark Choinski, which means he's going to have to box him or fight him off of his back. Both of those, terrible ideas. Mark Choinski's top control, very good. Mark Choinski has an absolute missile for a right hand. When he throws his right hand and it lands, it puts people to sleep. I remember when we were breaking down the fight with him and Bobby Lee, which was supposed to be the title fight that Bobby Lee backed out of. I was like, he's just going to land that right hand one time on Bobby Lee and it's over. I feel the same thing about John Simon here. Simon is going to be looking for a chance to shoot a takedown, a chance to turn this into a grappling match, a chance to not have to box with this guy. And when he starts looking for it, he's going to eat a right hand. So Mark Choinski, I'd be shocked if it was. It's not going to be in the Samsung area code. It's not going to be in the 4 digits, but it'll probably be half as high as that. It'll probably be negative 500.
Still not good, but oh well. Them's the breaks. He's obligated to give you winners. So he didn't do the matchmaking. Talk to Anthony Pettis about that. All right, before we get to the main event of the evening in Milwaukee, let me tell you about Rhythm, SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me, The Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. It also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. You can now track props in the Rhythm app, and Rhythm just launched their college basketball models. So get in there, check out the NBA props, check out the Al Horford props more specifically, and claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. And we're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. So you can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. US players are always welcome. Check out all the MMA lines there and go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN. So they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Remember the SGPN code. All right, main event is for some gold as well. It is the APFC Flyweight Championship. Cody Linne versus Roybert Echeverria, who is on Gumby's Top Turtle MMA podcast this week and is from Venezuela. Let's break her down. Tell you about the challenger first. Echeverria, the unbroken. Even after talking to you, is he unbroken? We'll see.
Yeah, I think so. I still think so.
All right, 9-2, 5 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out once. 1-0 in APFC. Lost win over his last 4. Won his last 5 via knockout. He went 0-1 in Contender Series. Who did he lose to, Gumby?
Jafel Filo.
There you go. Used to fight at bantamweight. 0-1 as a pro grappler. The code breaker, Linne. 9-1, 1 knockout, 6 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 4-0 in Anthony Pettis Fighting Championship. He's the champion. He's successfully defended his title twice. He's won 7 straight. He's not lost since February 2022. He's fought at bantamweight as well. 5 years younger than Echeverria, an inch taller.
So I think Linne is going to come in as a favorite here. I think, so first of all, he's looked really good as a champion. And his game is pretty simple. It's like he's got really good submissions. On the mat, he looks really sharp. I want to say it's going to be close, though, here, because Echeverria was on Contender Series, and we're going to see that line hopefully come down a little bit. So we'll say like -165 for Linne and like +140 on Echeverria. I'm still going to take Cody Linne. I really like Echeverria. I think his game is really good and solid and all around. But here's my problem. Cody Linne will struggle with fighters if he can't take them down. The way he wants to take everybody down, he wants to take everybody down in the whole world by catching their kicks, by getting to the kicks and catching them, putting them down on their back. And so when he does that against Echeverria, I think he's going to have a lot of success on top. Echeverria's the best part of his striking game is that he rips into your legs early and often. And so, like, if he abandoned that entirely, I don't know if his striking is good enough to just beat Cody Linne then. And if he throws too many of those kicks, I think he winds up on the bottom. So, like, for me, it's like this weird balancing act where I think, like, Echeverria is good enough to beat him, but like one of the things he needs to be good enough to beat him is the thing that might be his undoing. So I'm going to go with Cody Linne. I think probably a slight favorite here. I don't know necessarily how into that pick I'm going to be in the long run, but as far as who I think is going to win, that's the one I'm going to go with.
Okay, there you go. Let's give you a recap and get you some bonus picks. He's got Linne. He has got Sanson. Oh, actually, Choinski, sorry. Linne, Choinski, Sanson. Urban and Lovrich. All right, lightning round. Zap, bam, boom, pow. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for this one, kind of a short card because it gets into amateurs, and these books don't usually offer odds on amateur fights. But I'm going to go with Raiden Kovacs, who's a heavyweight fighter. He was actually 0-2 to kick off his career. I want to say he was on like PFL Challenger Series when he was like 0-0 or something like that. But he's like he went 0-2 in his first 2 fights and has since rebounded and looked really good in his last 2, including fighting for 247 Fight Club or 247 fighting championships. Which is a pretty good promotion out of Pittsburgh. It's the one that Hunter Homistick is like the matchmaker for now. But he's looked really good since then. He seems to be fixing some of his holes. So I'm going to go with him in that one. Maybe we'll find some dog money on him based on the fact that he's only 2-0. And then the other one I'm going to take is Jeremy Strobel Jr. He's Duke Rufus guy, which usually means if we've got a up-and-coming Duke Rufus guy in a Anthony Pettis Fighting Championships fight, usually they're getting pretty favorable matchmaking. So I think he is here. He's 2-0. He's fighting a 3-4 guy. I don't know what that line's going to look like, but I don't think Anthony Pettis would stick a Deuce Rufus guy in a fight that he's going to get embarrassed in. So I'm going to take Jeremy Strobel Jr. and Braden Kovacs as my 2 lightning round picks.
All right, you are set now. If you want more MMA talk, sportsgamblingpockets.com/Discord, SGPN MMA on YouTube, SGPN MMA on Twitter, and at Gummy Vreeland and at Jeff Fox Writer as well on Instagram for me, Jeff Fox Writer. Get in my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. Enter my free UFC Pick'em contest. Listen to Top Turtle MMA, a podcast that Gumby hosts. He's got Roybert Echeverria on it, and probably a UFC fighter that you've heard of. Hopefully, Damon Jackson.
Yeah, hopefully Damon Jackson.
Yeah. And of course, we can be found at sportsgamblingpockets.com, sportsgamblingpockets.com/store, and sportsgamblingpockets.com/Patreon. And we'll be back tomorrow. I hear there's a pay-per-view this weekend, Gumby.
There is. It's
as of this recording, the main event is
Madison Square Garden, baby.
Yes. As of this recording, the main event is still set. So we shall see. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. The Unbroken Jeff Fox, Hulk Vreeland. We'll see you then.